Right on.
Is everybody in?
Is everybody in?
In. We got Dioji back here making some noise on the bowl,
The ceremony is about to begin.
giving us the what would that be? The chain on steel. That's what that is. Chain on steel.
Dioji's working on a chain gang, right?
Working on the chain gang.
Yeah,
back there. Oh, he's okay, Becca. He's all right for the moment.
He's fine. He's just
chain off, chain off.
He's doing his thing. It's a Miyagi, right?
Yeah, let's see here. I guess before we get rocking and rolling into the fun stuff,
The fun.
we switched DOG over to Taste of the Wild dog food. It's about half the price of Signature, and it is all protein. There's no grain free, meal free, byproduct free. You know, it's simple vegetables, stuff like that. But yeah, we got a new torch too. Hear that, guys? It sounds like a jet engine taking off here.
That's a good thing.
Joint. Yeah, dude.
I really like the 2 red setter stickers and the 13-point lightning bolt.
It covered up. There was like a logo there.
Oh, the double win then.
Perfect.
Double win, man.
It's a little loud though.
He has been loving this food, and he has not had any adverse reactions.
How's his ears doing?
Fuel is solid. Better, honestly. His like
there he is. I see him. Hey, buddy.
Ever since we switched over in the first place to a protein only, let's just say grain free style food. You know, he's slowly but surely been coming. He doesn't lick as much. He doesn't lick his paws as much as he used to.
Well, that's a lot of that's a food allergy. You know,
he still does the thing where he licks his butt and all that stuff. You know.
Well, I mean, he's got to keep it fresh for the Goochins, right? Cheers, Daddy Red. I see you.
Red.
Cheers, Jay. Cheers, Jason.
Just like you, Skilbo, out and about and gone and away and traveling the world.
Yeah, man.
Daddy Red and Mama Red just got home the other day as well. Yesterday, they just got back from
the Mediterranean.
Grecian cruise, man. Yeah, they spent their last couple nights in Barcelona and then finally.
Fuck yeah! Cheers, High and Fly. It's good to see you too.
High and Fly, Jay Patrick, Jason Eyestone popping in early. Saw you in there, brother.
Has it been a couple
Uncle
weeks
Rick,
since we've had a
show? Cheers, Neighborhood Grows. What's up,
Uncle Rick? We did not
have
a show. We did not have a show last week. Shout out to everybody. Thank you all very much for your patience while we came around and keeping those notifications on and handy dandy while we come back through and have another show for you. Becca and I went to a concert last week. Shout out to KZoo. I haven't seen him in chat, but we got a chance to see him out there. Shredder 710. We got a chance to see Eagle. Fucking talking shit with Eagle.
Oh yeah, man.
We'll get into that a little bit later. But first and foremost, Skilbo, where the hell were you, man?
I'm like fucking Carmen Sandiego, baby.
Tell us all about it.
Tell us all about it. Skilbo, you went up to the Pacific
Northwest. Cheers, Stoney. I see you in chat too. And, listen, man. You don't
have to disclose any details you don't want to, but tell us about the sites. Tell us about.
Listen, I've been all over the world, right, in my travels, and I've been to a lot of different countries. And I was saying that the Pacific Northwest, especially where I was by the Puget Sound, Olympia, and things like that. Man, dude, as a fucking tree lover, it was heavenly. Just fucking heavenly, dude. I fell in love with it's called the Pacific, the red cedar tree. You know how big those fucking things are, dude? It's like you could mistake them for a redwood. And it was really cool. I got to go to, we always talk about those old growth forests and things. And I went to several of them while I was there. And, I really...
Several of them.
Several of them, yeah. I went to the North Jetty and got to stand there in the Pacific Ocean like I wanted to. And, that shit moved me, man. Like, the power of the Pacific it's humbling. So, standing there on the beach was fucking awesome. I get to run through a lot of these, like I said, old growth forests and things. And it was amazing. I seen a bunch of different mushroom cultures out there, like just growing in the wild, walking through the woods, and seen some orange ones, some giant ones, like really, really fucking cool. So if you ever get a chance to go out that way, or hell, if you ever get a chance to go anywhere that you haven't been before, make sure that you pop out there and definitely do it. I also was able to have some hands-on training at cultivating some mycology while I was out there. Had 4 tubs going, and ended up with doing the Wallengongs, which is one of my personal favorites. Yields really, really well. Then we had some Hawaiians going as well. So did that. So made the liquid cultures, did a whole bunch of shit that I've really always been interested in, wanted to learn about. So definitely a good recharging of the battery, but I have to say that I have missed doing these shows, and it's nice to see everybody in chat again. Cheers, everybody. I hope you guys are in live chat. If you're not, and I caught you out and you're in top chat, do me a favor before you switch over. Make sure you give the show a thumbs up. Always, always nice.
Yeah.
Well, we missed you, man. Has not been quite the same without you on the show, and Sequence has been gone too. You guys are both MIA, man.
I know it's like a whole different show, but I want to give you guys credit for holding it down, especially Red, when you did my Welcome to the Bro Show Live for me. You hooked it up for me, and the spirit was there all the same. Y'all took a shot at it, man. You gotta roll into it, bro. Let's roll into it.
Some interesting conversations were had, that's for sure.
For sure.
He took control of the whole show and talked us all.
Was it Mutiny on the Bounty, Red Setter Farm style?
What was it about even? It was really long.
It was about everything, I'm sure.
Science, like I told everybody we would. The great G word that rhymes with glyphosate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now I
Cheers, neighborhood girls.
Got into it.
Cheers, organically blunt.
Got into it. Yeah.
We also
Cheers,
had a
Dags.
show where we both, I think this was after, since you've been gone too. We also like had a show and we had to turn off the camera a bunch because we were tripping hard.
What were you guys?
From a very low dose.
A low dosage of paper or
no, dude, no mushrooms, man. We've got here. I'll show you this like really, really nice little.
Cheers, Stormblast.
So this is the inside of the stem. And if you can see the shade of that, it's like gray.
Yeah, man. Cheers, Astro Charlie.
Blue, gray, the inside of the stem is.
Yeah.
This thing was like a monster. It was like that big. It was like that big around. It was just gnarly chode.
Fuck yeah.
Not a penis envy or anything. And we only took 200 milligrams each, which normally is like a microdose, even of this exact same mushroom. We've been picking off of this one mushroom for like 2 weeks. And like it was just a big mushroom.
It was just too much.
And
everything was like kind of every little
it got a little squirrely.
Like square of all of you guys. Like
okay. Well, so I have some questions then. So this is a show about topics such as these. What did you think?
I was just not expecting it, and I have a hard time like sitting still and listening to other people.
It was distracting.
And then I'm like thinking about how I'm like tripping, and I'm like, I'm being recorded right now. Like, oh my gosh.
It was
like, I don't want to be on camera.
Okay. It's, that's fair enough. I can understand that.
It was okay. Each square was just kind of like pulsing. So like each person was like,
sometimes it gets hard, man.
Yeah, it was fine. I just lately, like every time it gets like the dose gets a little more intense, I just feel like I want to like, I just don't like too much stimulus. So like, everybody talking, or even like us sitting here and him watching something sometimes can be too much. Like, all the talking sometimes is what gets me.
I mean, I think he gets a lot of people's significant others that happen to be captive audiences for our show that they can't get away from it would also agree that sometimes we can be a bit much.
Absolutely.
So I
No, you know what? It's like Red needed me to be here to, just keep it steered and keeping it going in that one direction.
Oh yeah.
Not to be confused with
I got off camera for a minute and I was like, I don't think I can go back. And then he like would have to turn it off and like take some breaks, and it was interesting.
Well, your chicken coop turned out amazingly nice, and you guys got it done really, really quickly. And you even have birds living in it, right?
Yeah. This is their third night tonight.
Okay.
And
did you name them yet?
They came with names, but like we don't know all of them.
But do the birds know their names?
Remember them. So we have like 3 of them named, and then the other 3 we're working on names for them. But we've got 2 white ones. That's Tic Tac and Marshmallow.
Okay.
They're pretty cute. They're like the easiest to pick up and hold. And then there's like a caramel colored one that's named Carmelo or Carmilla. We don't know, but one of those.
We're working on it, right?
And then there's 2 black ones that are a bit smaller and like a big white and black speckled one. Yeah. I'll go get them. Okay. The OG does not like them.
No, he's kind of a one owner animal in the house, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's been okay. We've been keeping him back on his cable. He's had free range for the last couple months, but now he's back on his cable. Keeping him away from the fence line, and then we've just kind of put some like painting blankets and stuff like on the fence and kind of keeping it so that he can't see back there.
Sure.
And that seems to be, he can't hear, so like he doesn't really hear them clucking or anything. He saw him moving around, and that caused us some issues the very first day. And then ever since, he's getting a lot easier, just kind of hanging out around there. He's slowly realizing what's going on. The challenge is going to be when we take the drapes off of the fence. We're gonna just kind of put some what's that stuff? Stuff we used on the roof, the galvanized
the sheet metal shit.
Yeah, we're gonna use some of that, like 2 feet around the perimeter at the bottom,
right?
So that when they're just like walking around the cage, you can't really see them. It'll help with like neighbors being able to see them and shit like that also. But the in the wintertime, it'll help with a windscreen also, rather than
I missed you too, buddy. I hear you back there.
He wants more food. He is so in love with this food. He just wants more and more.
So we're thinking that the protein density isn't as great on this food because it is half the price by weight. We're thinking that the other food may have actually been.
But with protein for dogs, Red, like if things haven't changed much in the last 20 years, which I know that's a joke and somebody's laughing, but I worked in the dog industry for a long time. And you really don't want a high protein diet for your senior dogs. You know what I mean? Like puppy food's usually like 28%. Yeah. You can get away with like 22, 23, 24%, and he's fine. The big thing with your Call of the Wild, though, is a lot of that is grain-free, which can be a contributing factor to issues with his ears and skin and stuff like that. So hopefully he's found something that he both likes to eat and is working out well for him.
Yeah, this food has probiotics, which is really cool.
I think it's got pumpkin and some other stuff in it.
It's got some peas in it, some vegetables, and
yeah.
I think he likes it a little bit more. It's a bit easier for him to eat.
I think that's the biggest one, is getting him off the grains and all the shit that just goes along. Grains are inflammation causing, which that adds to allergens and all kinds of stuff. And then on top of it all, it's most of our grains are sprayed with herbicides and then killed with Roundup.
They don't use the best shit for dog food. She grows the dank.
Yeah, not at all. And that's most of our grains. That's, generally how grains are farmed. They get 3 cycles a season, 2 to 3 cycles a season, and they grow them for like 60 days. And fields of gold in July during the middle of a wet, rainy season. You have fields of gold. That's not because the rain is falling and killing the crops. That's because they're spraying the crops with
No more food.
a termination spray, something to terminate its life cycle.
I love listening to Becca talk to DOJ.
Oh yeah.
We have little bat. He's getting a little sharp with me with
He's sassy boy, isn't he?
Come on, bud.
He is.
Yeah.
So let's see here, man. We had you went on vacation. We ran a Polarity Science a couple weeks ago, solo dolo with Abolish and had a good old time. And we talked about that coop. But then last week we took another short break because Becca, we met up with Kazoo out in Kalamazoo for a week ago tonight. And actually 10:16, we were still high in wonder during the Billy Strings show. I had
It was so good. Oh my
Billy
gosh.
Strings lighter. I got my Billy Strings t-shirt on. Becca's got her Billy Strings t-shirt on.
Wow.
Kazoo hooked us up with a Billy Strings t-shirt.
Yeah, wore that the other day.
We stood in line to get in early. The wing center is fucking sweet. They didn't do any kind of seating checks for general admission, and so we got to go down on the floor.
Where was that at? Like what city?
Center in Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo. Didn't he also go to Saginaw like the next couple days or something?
It was on Friday, 6 days ago. Friday, a week from tomorrow.
Right.
We got out to that one, and we just happened to luck out to get GA. Somebody was giving GA wristbands in line.
Oh, nice.
Checking people's tickets, except by the time he got to us, dude, I had a joint going, and there was just so much commotion and shit. The dude just wasn't even checking tickets. He was just like, give me your wrist. So like he just started putting wristbands on people. So we ended up, and then when we got to the entrance to get in, they were kind of doing the same thing, but we already had wristbands, so we didn't have to show our ticket again. And then when we got down to GA, we didn't have to, they were like asking about our tickets, and we were like, no, we haven't been.
Hold it up, man. Hold it up.
More confusion with other people. And we were like, yeah, we got them. And then so we got back into GA.
So we were like maybe like 5th row GA standing, like not that far from the front.
We got in like an hour before the show started and got like pretty much like 15.
All right. So here's the real question is, Becca, where does this fall on your Billy Strings so far? You've seen it multiple times. Is this better than the last time?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love all his music so much more. So I like.
Since the last time you've heard more music,
Yeah. And I know them all, by now. And like on the way there, I played the songs that I wanted to hear. And
how many did you get?
He damn near played all of them.
Got a lot of them, dude.
There you go.
He played every song I wanted between the 2 nights, except one song, which he played like the following night, of course.
We played in Pennsylvania.
But that's okay. I did hear it already from him, so it's not the end of the world. But
Jay Patrick, he's about to do a world tour. I don't think Canada's on it, but I could see him coming up there sometime soon, unless he's banned. Some of us Americans just aren't allowed. And I should say some of us Michiganders just aren't allowed back into Canada.
Can't cross the bridge anymore, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was such a good show, and I was so into it.
I actually can't go to Canada because I don't have that stupid identification.
Oh, the star thing on your thing. Is it the star, or is the star so you can fly?
It's not the star. I think that's to get on an airplane.
Dude, here's a funny thing. Talking about when I was out west, I went to several different dispensaries
Maybe that is
in the Washington area. It's around Olympia. And, you have to show your ID when I go in there. So I had my regular driver's license, and then I had my Michigan medical card. And both places that I went, they were like, what the fuck? Because like I seen what an Washington card looks like. And it's like they don't get a card issued from the state. like they get their paperwork from the doctor, and then when they go to like a dispensary, they make like a photographed, weird, laminated, looks like a bad school ID from like the 1980s.
Yeah,
What the fuck,
yeah,
man?
those ones.
Yeah. So, I had to slap the old credit card, Michigan style, down, be like, this is how we do back.
Yeah, that's those unlimited license states, man. They got some really, really lax laws up there. It's kind of kind of nice for the people, man, I guess.
Dude, they had some super cheap fucking weed up there too. I seen some things were like, $30 an ounce and shit. So
Did you
Did
what
you?
was I'm trying to phrase this question in a way that's not gonna say like
It's not Jeopardy. You can just ask. It's okay.
did you how did you source your cannabis out there? Was it homegrown? Was it dispensary stuff? Was it
It was mostly from dispensaries. They had hooked me up and picked up some things that I liked in advance. So like things that I was smoking out there was Granddaddy Purple. Had some really, really good OG Kush minis that just like was fantastic. White Widow.
Or those like
just the smaller little mini buds, you know what I mean? Not like the big buds and shit, but man, fucking dude, it was nice. And then I had some shit called.
They call them minis out there.
You can, if you look for them online, if you look at a lot of places and you see something that says minis, like afterwards, like Bubba Kush minis, what that means is it's not going to be large buds. It's going to be, everything is going to be like grape nut small shit, but it still works.
It's like pleasantries.
They call them like smalls.
Smalls, Biggie Smalls, Mini Smalls, Mini Rippington. I don't know, man. It's decent. But it kind of it was good, but then it was like not smoking in the house. The baby was born. So, being outside in this like a really big apartment complex and shit, I'm like, fuck, man, I'm not trying to stand out here and get anybody in trouble. So
it's really hard from going from like a place where you can smoke anywhere to where you have to be like really conscientious about it. Even like when I was babysitting my sisters last month, like it's like I'm used to smoking in the house. Like our consumption is much different than everybody else.
That's all I've done. Like I got home last night around 1:00. Flight didn't get back to Detroit until right around midnight. And I came home and I'm like, man, okay, cool. So before I left, I had harvested all that outdoor. Everything was trimmed up and jarred. So the beautiful thing about being gone for 2 weeks is everything was fucking got 2 weeks in a cure for me. So it was like a really nice treat to start opening jars and shit. Just as a huge shout out to 2020 Mendocino for all the outdoor gear that I had this year. I went right for that smell of success. Was definitely chilling on that. And today I went out in the garage, sitting on the side deck with the dog, and grabbed that jar of Girl Crush. Oof. Skunky, nice, everything's smooth. So good shit. I was gonna say also, you seen me hold up the ubiquitous Red Setter Farm jar. The other good thing about being gone for 2 weeks is that I still had this for an extra 2 more weeks. So I took one little nug of the rainbow to toss in with my shit. Oh man, I missed rainbow while I was gone. I gotta admit it.
Rainbow sounds good. Is this GMO?
This is GMO that we're smoking. Yeah.
So what do you guys think of this run of GMO for you?
Are
you happy with it?
Much better. Yeah. Oh, I like the first time I smoked it, I only took like 2 tokes and I felt it immediately. Like it's for sure upper 30s THC percent wise.
Thanks a while.
You can feel it. And that's, different from what I'm used to. But it's
got a high 20.
Tasty. It's stinky and
it's really, the thing about GMO is like you light it up and it kind of stinks and shit. Then you go outside and do some work or something and you come back in the house, and if you didn't like light some nog chomper or something, you're just like, holy fuck, the house is loud as shit from this, man. Fuck.
Super loud. This hasn't been putting me on my ass either. I've been smoking it during the day.
Oh, nice.
You took
yours 70?
I took it We still have some going today.
You had 77 on one of those yet? 77,
They were all
78.
like at the latest, at the earliest, it was like 77.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That
You're
was
really getting the yield, I feel like, and
They bulked up,
on
man. They
Sunday. It was
chunky.
a week since we harvested the tops, and the bottoms are still rolling. So we still have the whole
Oh,
bottom.
nice.
There's still
We
the
gotta
rest
take
of it
'em down.
out there. We took 2 plants down plus a couple tops, and the rest of it's still going. So
Are you now?
whatever, it's like
are you-
90 something days.
You're basically just ripping off the fan leaves on that, letting it hang, and then you guys are going to work it from there. Because otherwise, that is a sticky operation. I'm trying to fucking.
Oh,
get it.
yeah,
I trimmed like a nice big jar of it last weekend, and I got
Oh,
chunks, man, some chunks of
look at you
scissor hash.
flexing on me, boy. Love it. Vishnu says hi. That's GMO. Oh yeah. And the thing is that bud may not look like it's huge, but that bud is a fucking joint in and of itself. When you grind that up, it's gonna really blow up in there.
Oh, dude, this bud is.
Take it off this one.
Jay says, anyone here have experience with
1.46.
pressing bubble hash? I got a small question. You can go ahead and ask it in the chat, and if we don't know it, which we probably won't, but somebody in chat may. So toss it out there.
A little bigger one. Yeah,
They're like-
definitely little spears,
Yeah, well, they always get those. I don't want to call them foxtails because they're not really foxtails with
Yeah,
that
they're
kind
not
of
stressed.
crowning thing that goes on with them.
Not stress
Yeah, they're like
tails.
Yeah.
just little
They
points.
call them fingerlings.
Yeah.
But
Fingerlings.
I kind of think the fingerlings are like stress tails. These guys,
Well, the last time that I grew it, before I shut my garden down at the old house,
they're like crowns.
it got away from me and grew like over top of my LEDs that I had. I was like, oh, and then one of them was like touching it. It like bleached the end of it. Even as much as I fucked that up, it still blessed me with a very large harvest. I think I ended up getting like almost 7 ounces on that. And I still, like I was saying a couple shows before I left, I found a jar that still has probably 1.5 ounces of it left.
Nice.
Super old, but it still holds those fucking terps, man. And the shout out to the Amber Mason jar gang.
Oh yeah. We got ours. You know what we accidentally did? We accidentally pro tip, guys. When you do events and you have your jars displayed on the table and a visual aid as a visual aid, and here in cannabis, looking at the cannabis as part of its marketability, don't use the amber jars. You can't see in the amber jars. We did the 710 event, obviously back in July. It was a Clio cultivation, Clio cultivation
It
in
was my
Clio,
fault.
Michigan.
Whatever.
Fuck it, nobody's fault. We were busy. But we showed up with was it Citrique or was it Rainbow?
It was
It was
both,
Rainbow.
yes.
Oh, we had 2 jars, 2 different strains that were in amber jars. So you couldn't see them. You can't even if you're looking in the jar, you can't even see it.
So you know what you got to do, and this would be my pro tip for it.
Not everybody's putting it in their hand.
You know how you guys both worked at a dispensary. Sometimes the cost of the cannabis isn't necessarily in the cannabis itself, but it's actually in the packaging. So those little tiny votive style candle things with the lid, you could get those. I really liked it in the very beginning when I got my card. I used to go to this one dispensary, and they had all of their flower in each one of those, boom, 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 all labeled out, had everything printed on there and shit. And then you would just grab the fucking thing, take the top of it off, pull it in your hand, check it out, give it a sniff test, everything else. Because at the end of the day, all they would do with that is just, okay, we're going to grind that up and put it in house buds.
Yeah.
But, that was the thing about Washington that really, really turned me off is I have been a long time Toucan Sam in the cannabis world. I've got to be able to fucking, yoink. I've got to be able to smell shit. I've got to be able to look at it. I just, that's how it works for me. So when you just look at weed, it's like, well, now you're just kind of going off of the strain or, off of the name and shit. And it's hard when there's so many different strains out there. You're just buying it off of like, well, I don't know. It might be all right.
Yeah, we definitely have switched to using smaller containers at like these bigger events since they're getting open so much. But it really just depends on how much room we have, because if we have to bring big jars of 8 different strains and a small jar of it, sometimes we just don't quite have the room. So I like the smaller jars too. We at the dispensary that we worked at, we did that too. We used like little jars and put like an 8 in it.
Yeah, even if you just get one of those stupid jelly jars, like, you know, we've been known to bring to events and stuff, like, here, we should check it out.
The problem is an eighth will dry out really fast and it'll just lose all of its fragrance.
Yeah, you count those as foot soldiers in the war against fucking, you know, piss poor cannabis.
You got to have a little bit of a bulk of it.
You know what I would do? I would probably keep my shit in a fucking cooler, not to try to keep it cool, but just to keep it inside of there. There's no light going on. There's no, you know, exchange.
We keep all of our jars in a tote.
Yeah, something like that.
And we keep like little jars like this out on the table. Well, depends on the event, right? Depends on the event.
Size, a little bit bigger.
Okay, yeah.
We keep quarts out, and then that way we can fit a dozen jars out on the table.
Also at events, like people aren't necessarily coming to our booth no matter what, but when they see cannabis, like that always draws, and no matter what.
Yeah, we tried it where we didn't. Everything was small. We tried it where we just had our buds and the glass displays, and then we had them out so you could smell them.
We'd be like, oh, we have weed over here, weed.
Nobody had any idea we'd have anything there.
It reminds me of some of the events we've gone to where you just see the like almost comedic style pillows of, you know, like, here's 3 pounds in a bag. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's got their stuff out like in turkey bags. So what you gonna do?
The comedy is when they're wide open, letting all of the dust and everything just kind of float down on top.
There we go. So we do have some answers in chat. I'm just reading them off more for Red and Beck than anything else. Talking about that pressing of the rosin, and it turned out like shatter. Stormblessed says, yeah, pressing older stuff will crystal up like shatter. I've noticed, like, when I've pressed older keef, it's like shatter. There we go. Didn't know. You guys actually are in a position now where possibly this winter you can bust out your press and start fucking around with some more things.
Yeah.
You know, you get some really crystally stuff that you're working with, and that GMO definitely sifts nicely.
Man.
We got to make sure that Miss Becca stays flush with the concentrates for the wintertime, right?
I only have a little bit left, and luckily,
don't say that. Come on.
I've got some rosin left. I got some Dinkman Dan. That's all I've got.
What do you got from Dan right now?
I've got my last Fragoli dab right here. Got to do that.
Which one?
It's a garlic poison.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do this, but I got the garlic punch.
Just had the last dab of that.
And there's my torch. And I mean, I guess I could do an incidental hash time. It's not like there's rules to this shit. So, oh wait, that's a weak ass bell. Hash time.
Perfect. I got my new torch, and it's like my favorite thing. It works so nice.
Look at this. Of course, I have really low lights in here, but
oh, it's great.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you have so much, man. I'm jealous.
It's because I have so little lung left, young one. That's why.
Yeah, we just
serious chat.
I take too big of dabs. So.
We were going through it, and I'm like, there's a lot of resin. I was just I was up and down the tube, and I'm like, you probably could cut those dabs in half and just take 2 dabs, you know, instead of like the dab making its way up in and down the arm of the banger, you know. Really it came because like the reheat was burnt and chazzing, and like it was, but there was like a ton of oil still in there. And she's like, it's burnt, it doesn't taste good. She was like scooping out a bunch of oil. And I was like, well, maybe cut it in half and you might still get 2 rounds out of it.
I guess I was like, I was trying to think of like the flights, for example, and I was trying to do like a third of that to get like a like a generalized amount of how much I was doing, but I think that's just too much.
She puts half the amount of the dab in, and her and I take the banger back and forth, like 3 or 4 times.
So for me, having like no lung capacity, and can I get a shout out for my fucking, I'm doing things with chat and I'm taking dabs. Come on, man.
Shout out to Skilbo for taking
Yeah,
out
man.
the sex fine biz.
Boo, hiss. No, I take really, really small dabs because otherwise I'll just cough like crazy. But it's nice because it's always like a fresh hit. It always has its flavor and everything.
They do call it a dab, not a glob or a
They do call it that sometimes.
they call it a glob. But it's a dab. It's a dab will do you. Just a little dab will do you.
We had some I think it was called Hawaiian Fanta this last weekend from Astro Charlie. It wasn't his plant, but it was his that we had, and it was from somebody at the event we were at. And man, Hawaiian Fanta rosin.
What? How was it?
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh my
Fruity.
gosh.
Reminded me of Hippie Crasher before it cures. A little pineapple too.
So tasty.
Hell yeah, man. Damn, that was good. I almost want to reach into my drawer of tricks here and chase that with a little bit of lime skunk. What do you say, guys?
Lime skunk. Oh.
I haven't had any of this since I've been gone. You haven't had any even longer. Mwah.
Dude, they are out of town. Fagroli and his wife are out of town, and like I'm out now and I'm sad.
This is
sad, man.
A rainbow driver, bud. Here.
That's rainbow.
There it is.
Look how big it is.
We had a really
The
good,
tops are good.
really nice round of rainbow.
Yeah, that's a nice dance one too. Love it.
Nice.
Oh my god, this is so fucking good, man.
Okay, my
Cooling
turn.
baby.
Yes.
You guys talk.
We like it when you talk.
My new torch is so loud, I have to yell.
Works great. She's been lighting that other torch with a fucking Bic lighter, dude. It's been terrible.
Ooh. Are we gonna play these games or what? All right.
Another one?
Yeah. We hit the big time.
I know, man. I know.
I was watching a show with 5 people watching, and they were hitting them.
Well, they got nothing better to do.
They're hitting everybody.
AI or is it real people?
No, it's all about
Robots.
Classic.
There we go. Purple Sage says about harvesting the Wallengongs, the Burmas, planted the wavy caps. Yep. Was really nice, being able to in a small tent and just the 4-rack system using they'd be like a clear shoebox style thing. You can check it out over on his channel. It's the Purple Sage. And I've always wanted to grow my own mushrooms, but I've always been really, really intimidated by everybody says contamination this and problems with that. And it was like super fucking easy, harvested, like you'd harvest in the morning, and then sometimes you come back and harvest the rest later on in the evening, and running things through the dehydrator. Ended up grinding up a bunch of dried ones to make the powder for microdoses and stuff. It's just, I'm really looking forward to the day when we get people to have more access to that, as more and more cities are, loosening the stranglehold on entheogens, especially with psilocybin and DMT and things like that. It'll be nice because the tech is already out there for people to be able to create their own clean supply of things.
Was it Colorado?
Yeah.
That just legalized?
Just legalized. Yeah.
Legalized, yeah.
Shout out to Colorado. for legalizing. Yeah, it sounds like they're gonna have psilocybin workshop spaces as well as possession of psychedelics. It just said possession of psychedelics. So I'm very curious to how broad or narrow that is going to be with the legalization effort. It's probably going to be more narrow than broad. I'd be curious if they allow LSD or its derivatives. But nonetheless, would
Even
be
still, it's the ability for people, especially since, you know, microdosing has found its way and has more and more proponents and more states are coming online with it. It's just really would be nice to be able to cultivate those through your own garden, just like you do with cannabis. I really believe that if you're going to use plant medicine, the intention, you know, like it's a holistic thing, not just in the treatment of it, but also in your connection with it, cultivating it. Cheers, Raptor. I see you in chat. He knows what's up. But it was just to be able to grow the mushrooms and wash them. And then I love the smell of them. And I learned something, right? So for whatever reason, eating a fresh cap to me does not give me like that feeling of like, oh my God, this is fucking awful taste. And then you have, you know, there's like the 90% thing. So whatever the wet cap weighs, 90% of that weight is water. So if you were trying to figure things out, you know, you take a big gigantic Wollongong, like, all right, man, sweet. Cheers, Dave. Thanks, man. That's nice.
Yeah, I always say that it's like a tenth. So if you have 10 grams wet, then you have 1 gram dry.
Mm. Typically, yeah.
Effect.
So, but just in the 2 weeks that I was there, I know that, you know, because here's another thing is he doesn't run the dehydrator as soon as he like harvests. So if you harvest a little bit, instead of just perpetually running this fucking 1500 watt, you know, 1000 watt, whatever fucking thing it is, he simply takes them, cleans all the substrate off of them, separates the stem from the cap, puts them in a plastic container and keeps them in the fridge for a day or two until he harvests enough to be able to like, okay, cool, there's a couple screens. Lay all the stems out on one, lay all the caps out on the other. The other tip, the pro tip, was to make sure that when you're doing that, to make sure that you have the caps so that the gills are up. That way they don't fucking shit all over the inside of your dehydrator as well. But was doing that, and then I was kind of doing an experimental thing out there with.
What's the separation of caps and stems for?
It was to make it so that it would just fit easier in the dehydrator.
Okay.
So that you just flatten them all out rather than just having them all wiggly piggly all over the place.
Okay.
And then the combination of the lion's mane, the reishi, the chaga, you know, like the blends that you can get. So I took those the whole time I was out there.
Have you noticed an effect from the reishi?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. My mental clarity, like sometimes I'll be honest, guys, I'm not firing on all cylinders. So I feel like I'm very mentally nimble right now. Everything's chill. Was also taking some ashwagandha as well. And then up in the vitamin D. So, you know, it's just about trying different things. I really have not been big on trying to use prescription medications to treat what's wrong with me. Not that I'm completely anti on those, but I try to use alternative methods that work for me. So your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I definitely believe in prescription medications. I just have a strong
you believe that they work for some people?
No, I mean, I believe that prescription medications are effective and work. I just don't think that the pharmaceutical companies have our best interest at hand. I don't think that they're providing it for our better interest.
No, they're doing it. Even if they're doing it for profit, if it works, fuck it, it works. You know, whatever My thing is, I always beat the drum about everybody self-medicates and shit, and it's just whatever one that you're comfortable doing. I don't like to
The
poo-poo on
catch
people's
with
choice.
some of it though is Skilbo, is that some of them aren't, they'll heal one thing or help you with one thing, but they cause adverse reactions that cause you like almost into this downward spiral of
Yeah, I can agree with that.
pharmaceutical necessities, and then once they start backing up, you start having issues with their filters, your kidneys, your liver, your all that other stuff that's involved.
Right.
Um,
But
our bodies,
I love the neurogenesis of it, man. Like that's the part that I don't have to understand it completely to still be, blown away by it. I don't have to understand how shit works. It's just if it does or not. And another thing is I've been experimenting with something called ghost pipe. It's a tincture, and it's this little cool mushroom-ish thing that grows out west. You can buy tinctures of it on Etsy from a lot of different people on there. There'll be like one little ghost pipe in this bottle, and it's probably less than $30 to you. I deal with a lot of issues with nerve pain and like electrical spasms, I guess I would call them. And using that ghost pipe, like one eyedropper full, adding it, using it sublingually, really I feel decrease both the amount of and the intensity of both of those things. So I'm going to continue using that. I really like to be able to find that. And then
what is that?
Ghost pipe. I don't want to put out bad information, so let me do a little bit of Googling here and a little reading. So it says ghost pipe, ghost plant, benefits of it. It says ghost pipes have several medicinal benefits. They have sedative, antispasmodic, and diaphoretic effect. Ghost pipe is more inclined towards managing neuronal? I don't know. Disorders like psychosis, acute anxiety, nervousness, irritability, restlessness, and convulsion episodes. So it's kind of cool. I only recently learned about it and went with it. Let me see. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. And I'm not even going to try to hold my phone up and do it.
I'm looking at it too, man.
They're very
ghost
pretty.
pipes. Yeah.
They look like
a certain flower.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it.
Kazoo, what's up?
Cheers, Kazoo.
We were talking about you earlier and giving you love and shout outs, man. So
bellflowers or whatever they are. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Like a bellflower.
These things are sweet looking.
Yeah. And I'm big on tinctures. I think they're really fucking cool, even though they're very ancient tech. But I've used them for years. In fact, when I was out in Washington, I taught them. I gave them my old magic butter machine because I haven't used it in a long time. So I had them do a THC one and a CBD one. So,
Skilbo, I think that there is a huge difference between earth medicines, natural medicines, and pharmaceuticals. And the main one I think that a lot will agree with is the exact one that we all agree with cannabis, which is the difference between a full spectrum cannabis oil and an isolate or a distillate.
Yeah.
Whereas they're both effective, but even in trials, blind studies and such, Marinol is not as effective as a full spectrum oil.
It's the way that CBD works with THC to me, how they modulate each other. It's kind of like the old Super Friends show from the 1970s when they had Zan and Jaina, and they would do Wonder Twin powers, activate, and they would say, like form of an ice bucket. And then the other one would be like form of a condor.
Yeah.
Fly with that and put the fire out and shit. I mean, the bucket of water is cool. And the fucking condor is cool. but not as cool as a condor with a bucket of water putting out a fire, right?
Oh yeah. It, you know, with the fungus, there's so much going on with how it's playing on our health. Preventatively,
Yeah, man.
prophylactic,
Intergalactic prophylactic, man.
man. You know, when we take medication or pharmaceuticals, typically in a response, it's a reactive.
That's a really good point, man.
It's a reactive response to being sick, whereas cannabis consumption can sometimes be reactive. For me, and you know, for what I like to promote cannabis as is more supplemental. Fungus, mushrooms, supplemental, less reactive, less trying to battle a condition that I already have, more or less trying to prevent one from onsetting itself. Same with the food deal, man. Same with why I grow my own food, why we grow our own food, why we're trying to close loops and stay away from the grains, the glyphosates, and some of the shit that's causing.
But you both genuinely feel better. Like you guys both feel better than you did last year.
And it's not always noticed.
No, but normally the normal thing is to not feel as good this year as you did when you were a year younger. You know what I mean?
It when you get back on the shit food is when you notice it. You don't notice it when you're feeling better, but you notice it when you feel like shit again. That's when you know.
Right. Yeah.
And not just that, but I also believe that, you know, in order for my cannabis to be effective as a medicine or as a prophylactic, or as if I want my fungus to be prophylactic, if I want any of these things to actually work, it all has to work synergistically together. I can't be drilling holes in a barrel while I'm trying to fill it with water, right? So if
it's an analogy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So every time I you know, we just went and ate burgers and had a beer, you know, that's a different story. You know, let's say if I'm eating
that shit was good, right?
Doritos as my actual
Becca says yes. Did you see that express? She was like,
it's so nice to not. I prefer to cook because I like my own cooking because I'm a pickier eater than him. So I like to cook. And so it's nice to not cook.
Red would eat garbage if you served it to him still. He's got enough kitchen guy in him still. It's like, yeah, sure. Box macaroni, I'll pay for it later.
Every time he cooks, I'm like, wait, you can cook?
You know, I still get hungry and I need to eat.
Still got to mix some shit together, man.
But I'd prefer to just not put more holes in the barrel that I'm trying to fill, you know, effectively fill, you know.
And we're certainly not perfect, but every time I go to the store, we go to the store, like make a difference in what we're buying. Like,
well, now you guys are going to have fresh eggs and shit. So like, that's awesome.
We had some today.
We had some today.
I've never had an egg less than 24 hours old. Never.
What'd you think?
Phenomenal.
Oh yeah, man.
Gratifying, dude. Probably some of the most gratifying food. We have worked nonstop, sun up, beyond sundown, driving our neighbors crazy.
Dude, but you know what though? You guys probably are sleeping better because you're outside even more than you were last year.
Oh, we were just talking about that at dinner, like the difference a year makes in where we're at, like just thinking about the whole year.
So what do you got? Fill us in.
Well, this time of year, it's the season change. We head into winter, and I always consider wintertime the season of death. Everything dies, and not as a bad thing, not as a dogmatic thing, but as a good thing, because it's a time for resetting and also reflection. And I look back, and her and I sat back in the garden, and I go, let's take a look at this empty, dead garden right now and just kind of think, where are we going to be this time next year? Like a year, 365 days. Like that's a long time. What can we get accomplished? Where are we going to be?
And so have the fucking garden right up to the edge of that railing that Becca's been working on the deck, which I know people in the chat don't realize how deep the homestead that they're at is, but like they get a big backyard. And just for me to see it go from where it was before Becca to where it went, like the first year with her and him working together was like, oh shit, guys, you kicking ass. And then this summer when I went over there, I was like speechless for a minute. And then Becca was like taking us for a tour through and explaining everything to it, man. I'm videoing it. I'm like, man, this is so fucking cool. So a really good time, man. Thank you for that again. That was awesome. And shout out to Daddy Red and Mama Red. Always cool as hell to see them as well.
It was cool to walk around and show you guys it. Yeah, so last year we had jobs. We both were working.
Miserable.
I was like, what was I doing when you were hunting last year? Oh, I was working and just doing nothing. I just did the same thing. This year it gets to be my rest, my like mini vacation also. Just
oh, I'm sure you guys have got 14 little mini projects lined up and shit. You'll get the bug and want to start painting again and doing something, Becca. I know you.
I think I'm gonna sleep the whole week.
Well, you can do that for a whole week. You've earned that. I mean, all the overtime you guys have worked. Shit.
No, I've got a couple little things to do, but
I have to give it up to her for putting up with me, man. I'm the one that got a couple years behind. You know, I'm the one that's like been trying to get all this shit accomplished.
But it's so many hours a day. Like,
and
your shit is like a natural garden, guys. Okay, it's a natural garden, but there's still a lot of work, man.
Her workflow. Fortunately, we have the community. Fortunately, we work from home and we're able to have, you know, I it's not all us, man. It's my family and parents who invested in, you know, our cannabis caregiver, you know, business, that whole thing, to be able to have that in operation so that we're able to do, you know, some of these small events like the Third Eye Muse Art Affair that's at the Fledge in Lansing on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. At least for the next until the end of the year. We plan to be vending this next week, probably the following week after that, and as many as we can in the next few weeks. Obviously, unless, you know, there's holiday events and shit like that, they have to come up for family and things. You know, family always comes first as much as we're able, because life is just so finite. We don't see our families nearly as much as we should. I have 2 older brothers that live within a half-hour drive from me, and I might see them half a dozen times a year at best. You know, we're all so busy.
Bro, listen, man, my brother lives just across the river from me, and I don't mean like in Canada or anything. And I'm good if I see him once a year.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's a really busy guy. I'm a busy guy, and it's just like, we're cool, but the shit just never matches up.
Yep. And it, you know, my parents, they travel a lot. You know, they're busy. They have, you know, summer home, 2 homes. I'm busy. I don't get a chance to see them nearly as much as I should. So it's nice when the holidays and some other stuff comes around. Really.
Okay. Well, let me riff off of that for a minute.
To them.
And that is, you know, the power of family is a fantastic thing. But I also realize that not everybody has a large family. Maybe situations are different for them. But you find that the family that you make on your own as well, up to and including this kind of a community, really can make a difference, man. And, you know, if our little 2020 experiment taught us nothing else, it's that people do need other people. Maybe we just need them in smaller doses, though. Yeah. You know, For me, I was talking about going out to the state of Washington, and it just really renewed me on being able to tap into nature. So like we're driving around and going to all these parks, right? And it's Washington State, it's fucking raining, right? So I would jump out of the car and would run over to something and like marvel at it and take like a picture or a video or something and jump back in the car and then drive a little bit more and then, oh cool, let me jump out, see this. And it's just like, it was really, really fucking cool, man, to be able to stand under those gigantic trees and just like, it made me think like, wow, I wonder what this area looked like 500 years ago. When it's like First Nations people and stuff there, and where it's all just footpaths and gigantic, 350-foot tall fucking trees and shit.
That's how I felt when we were in the Smokies.
On the trail. Yeah.
Paths up there have been there for so long.
Yeah, especially when we were down, when we were off the Appalachian Trail, because of the history that it has prior to like the Trail of Tears and any of that kind of stuff, prior to them being pushed into reservations or any of the settling that had occurred into those mountains. Those areas were used for hunting and all kinds of stuff, man. Agriculture.
Isn't the Appalachian Trail how they traveled across the country?
Traveled from basically southernmost to the northernmost. Yeah.
Well, I was
been there for a long time.
So I went on my little kick and I was reading on Wikipedia about that giant red cedar shit. And those trees can get to be 1,400 years old. Yeah, which to me just fucking blows my mind, man.
Probably so well like bacteria and pest resistant because they're cedar. They probably have such a good resistance.
Their roots have to be like ginormatron.
Sure. Cedars are cool trees, man, because they're like
it's a sacred, right? It's a sacred tree to like the first peoples, man.
It's like a pine. It's like a conifer type tree.
Yeah, it's a gigantic cedar tree, man, and it's aromatic. They use it for all kinds of shit.
Yeah. It's wood. I love working with cedar. Pro tip, man. Get cedar. Get unfinished cedar plank fencing. To do cedar trim.
Dude, I mean, what do you think I've got? Like $47,000 in the bank to buy this fucking cedar fence?
That's why I'm saying use the cedar planking, man. You're talking if you're trying to use cedar wood, if you're trying to use cedar, you're trying to use, build something outside. You don't want to paint or stain or anything. Let's say you got a dog or something. You don't want it to chew on its kennel. And you're going to build it a wood crate. You can take cedar fence plank, right? So okay. Let me give you the comparison. Context being, a fucking 1x6, 8-foot long cedar board, fucking $20, something like that. Okay. You can get a 1x6, 6-foot long cedar board for like $6 if you get the unfinished cedar fencing. Now it might not be finished. You might have to give it a little sanding or something, but usually
it sounds like you're making a case for me to be able to get a planer, and I'm always down to try to get more power tools, man.
That's it. That's all it takes. And if you have
more power tools, man,
better, dude.
Ooh, Becca, what are you holding up?
Can you see?
I'm old and blind, but it's really clear, and somebody can if they have like a 72-inch TV. What does it say on there?
Banana bread.
Okay.
And banana daddy.
Which one do you like more?
The bread is a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
I don't know that I have a preference. They're both good.
That's a good thing then.
I got like 6 different strains of his at once, and they're all all similar.
Bougie ass. Hit a lick.
Dave,
yes, we do.
Use the term hardwood if we're referring to something like oak or birch or something like that. Yes. So,
The OG just came over here and farted. He's
yeah,
mad.
he's a little farter.
He's mad because I went in there and he was
Spy hunter you, man.
He was
Hit you
just
with that
about to
slipstream.
lay down his butt right where he lays his face. Like that's his favorite. He'll move his pillow, he'll teabag his pillow. And I heard him rustling around and I ran in there and wouldn't you know, he had your pillow out.
Oh, I'm sure, a little shit.
Gucci.
Yeah. Now, in the same spectrum, Skilbo, if you don't want to go for cedar and if you're budget friendly, you just want to get some pine, man, do some indoor work, you can still go for the rough pine, dude. You get the rough pine, the same 6 footers, the fence. Now you're looking at $2 a board, dude. You talk about some incredible savings on wood. You get $2 a 1x6.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you buy that regular, like the dog-eared shit,
yeah,
they charge. Okay, so it's like $27 or $30 a panel. They're 8 fucking foot panels and shit, but they're only good for a couple years, really. It's like pallet wood more than it's anything else. It's all fucked up, and hey, I know what that is, the roller ball.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about particle board?
No, I'm talking about the pallet fencing shit. Like
pallet fencing shit.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Oh. Now, if you can find your pallets from the right places, there's a good chance you can get hardwood pallets. A lot of pallets are used with hardwood because of the fact that they need to be strong and sturdy and hold weight. So they use hardwood, oak, some others for. So I mean, you can always. So sometimes pulling some pallets is worth it. If you can find the right wood out of them. But most of a lot of times they're pine. Shit like that, I'm sure Box or Target.
It's kind of like an old house. You know how when you go to somebody's house that's really old, they have like real dimensional lumber rather than like a 2x4 is not 2x4, it's 1.5 by 3.5.
Uh-huh.
But when you start to see things that are like, people building with 6x6s and shit like that, you go, wow, man. And like my grandparents, I was told a story when I was a kid that when my dad was a kid, like 4 or 5 years old, my grandfather went and took down an old school building, which was from the 1800s, and salvaged all the wood and drug it back as they were building the house out in the country and shit. So my dad's like 4 and 5 years old and pulling all these nails out and stuff. And they built this garage out of it. And it's like, it was made, I mean, it's still there. It's still in fucking fine condition just because of like a lot of things now is like wood is not the same quality. It's grown a lot faster. The rings are a lot wider. It's just not the same thing. A lot of the older wood, you have a really tight grain pattern and like, I mean, just incredibly dense wood.
Yeah.
How quick are these trees being grown?
Which ones? Those red cedars?
It's twice as fast. Well, if you're talking pine, like they're growing them twice as fast. I don't know if it's considered maybe a GMO pine or it's probably a selected pine. I'm sure there's some sort of a selection in it that grows faster. I'm sure they're
how fast though?
I mean, there's probably still growing for 50 or 60 years. These things were probably planted back in the 70s. And they're harvesting them today. Some of them probably planted in the 80s. They're probably harvesting today.
Crazy.
The select cut that they planted in the 90s are definitely not ready to harvest yet. So, but yeah, I mean, they're probably harvesting pine from the 60s and 70s for sure. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're growing fast. Maybe the pine they planted in the 90s can grow faster and they will be ready to harvest. And it all depends on what timber and what size you're harvesting for. Also, if they're growing for,
I love in chat that Dave says, is there a pallet mafia in America when it comes to food transport? We have Shep and folks. We have a guy in town that drives around with like a 1996 F350 and a really super long flatbed. And this dude does nothing but drive around all the factories around us. And he'll get like 8-10 feet tall, all the way across on this thing strapped down. I have no idea what this dude does with them, but he's been doing it for years.
I have no idea how people strap those.
If there is a pallet mafia, I'm sure that my guy's plugged in somewhere.
Going down the street.
Fuck yeah, man. Just all ratchet strapped down and shit. Like, where are you going with this shit?
You need all that wood for something, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, they're making a hell of a tree house.
Ooh, we saw a tree web. Have you seen that on Instagram yet?
Is that
he makes webs up trees for humans?
okay? You ever see that one where they had like the tent hammock thing that goes in between like multiple trees and you tie off to it?
That's cool.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, I have those tri hammock things. Skilbo in chat, I suppose. Wood burning furnaces are very common in Michigan. I was very surprised when we started looking at properties and we were looking at acreage and stuff. Dude, every home is
it's either that or propane once you get out in the fucking sticks, bro.
Yeah. And so I'm almost wondering if a lot of these guys doing that and pulling pallets and stuff have, secondary forms of heat, or if maybe wood burning is a primary form of heat, they might be using that stuff for that. We do have the ability in Michigan, fortunately, to get a permit. It's relatively inexpensive. It's $20. You can get a woodpicker's permit, and you can go up into the forest, which are
is that the fallen stuff? If it's fallen, you can take it.
You can go within I think 50 feet, or maybe it was 200 feet of a roadway. And yeah, you can pick anything that's deadfall, anything that's already on the ground, anything dead and already fallen.
What's the closest national forest to us?
To us, I would say is
Manistee.
No, I think Huron National Forest might even be closer. It's just north of Saginaw.
Oh yeah, then that would be.
You'd have to travel. I think that Manistee is pretty much the same parallel, but it's on the other side of the state. It's on the other side of the state. Now, both have their.
I got that tree bug, man. I fucking want to get back out there and see more cool shit again.
My time is usually spent in the Huron National Forest.
That's because you're out there getting ready to do some wook footing. But that's what it is. You're looking forward to wook footing under the moonlight with Sasquatch next week, right?
Sasquatch is up in the Huron National Forest. What's kind of cool is there's a lot of sightings in Huron National Forest. It's pretty cool. And then when you start talking, I was actually talking to somebody. I think I was talking about this the other night. It's like small world type shit. I'm always out and about elsewhere, and it seems that people know of like that little small town where we go hunting. It's just a small section. Maybe it's because it's the forest and a lot of people do recreation.
Who's going out with you this year?
It's always like family, dad, brothers. Maybe eventually, it'll turn into like in-laws and stuff like that. We'll see. But it's always been dad and brothers and nephews. Nephews come up, and so it's all the boys. We all get together. And one year, my sister-in-law came out for a weekend. She comes up every now and then. And,
who's doing the cooking out there?
Daddy Red. Daddy Red does most of the cooking. My brothers cook. We all help. Sometimes I cook. Sometimes I don't cook shit.
I just want to know, do you and Daddy Red ever sneak off at the end of the
night? I don't
night?
get anybody's way is my thing. I'm not getting anybody's way when they're cooking and they got fillet knives and shit. Everybody's got fillet knives and they all tell stories with knives. So
what's up with that? They got to wave it around?
We got knife stories.
Swashbuckling, man.
No. What was that, Skilbo? What was the question?
I don't know. I get distracted by
Daddy Red sneak off.
Yeah. Do you guys ever sneak off after the end? I know you guys are safe hunters and stuff, but do you ever sneak outside behind the cabin and burn one?
There's fire pit antics. Drinking beers.
There you go.
Our sovereign thing.
I still got to say how cool it was when he showed up at the party and he just had that jar. Hey, yes. It's like, this is me. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. He had his one little plant this year. They were gone from home. Like, they weren't home at all. So I didn't really have a big crop. Give him a couple plants this year, and he took a couple little runts that I had, and
What'd you end up with?
he had like a blueberry green room, and I think he
Okay.
said the bunny rabbit got most of it. I'm not sure if Daddy Red's still awake. He might be sleeping. He was probably gonna say, "Oh, I'm here."
Yes.
I don't know if he got anything off it or not. They ended up going last 3 weeks, so I don't know if he ever
Right.
had anything off it or
I
not.
think he said there was a big bud on the
So there was a
top.
bud, like the rabbit got it, but it ended
You
up
couldn't
growing.
get that high for it, right?
Yeah, I couldn't get all the way up there. Probably got all the bottom, scratched it up a little bit. The green room did a really good job pollinating our garden this year. Fucking seeds all over our
Did
garden.
you end up salvaging any of that bud to smoke and sample, or are you just gonna seed it all?
Oh yeah,
out
we
and
smoked some of the green room actually already. Smoked some.
So which green room cross is the one that is good, Becca?
Here's the hippie crasher bud from outdoor. Actually gonna smoke it.
Okay.
I don't remember what we smoked. Didn't we try
Didn't
that?
did you guys you had the rainbow green room, and there was a Citrique green room too?
Those were the big ones,
A
yeah.
lot of it.
Okay.
There was a super tall volunteer.
Sassy.
Did you ever figure out kind of where that's coming from, or just nah?
Sasquatch phenoms.
Grape ape, maybe from a couple years ago.
It smells like grape ape, dude. It really smells like grape ape, and it's got this
Does it have
like
that bud structure like yours did?
it's tall and way taller, but yeah.
We didn't
Oh, yeah.
we didn't top any of them, so they were all like Christmas.
None of the
trees.
volunteers.
The Dr. Seuss mail, where where you make the turn and go into it. It's like, holy shit, man! It's like
That one was like
Yeah.
that one died first, like a senescent died off. It completely died off in like maybe beginning of September, mid-September.
right.
No, because everything else was flowering. So like mid to end of September, it just died off.
Yeah, it flowered early.
And then the males, a lot of the males just died off. And then the other males that I like kept alive, but I like kind of got rid of, I like castrated basically. All of
Cut
the other,
everything off.
I
of them.
neutered sounds way better. Neutered all of those other ones. And they like exploded with pollen sacs. It was wild. It was really cool to see.
So you're the guy in the neighborhood that everybody's cussing this year. Some fucking dude's got a goddamn mail outside. Fuck God sees my shit.
See,
Tell them they got green room crosses, bro. Everybody.
you're pretty good.
It's like the Oprah Winfrey thing. You get a green room cross.
You
Get a green room cross.
You
You get a green room cross.
You get a green cross. We have a lot of trees. Like our
Look
entire
under your seats. You'll find a variety of
entire
packaging.
perimeter is surrounded by trees. So we got a little bit of a pollen buffer.
I mean, our plant all the way
yeah,
at
I
the
mean,
front of the yard.
if
is
you're
pollinated.
growing in our immediate,
Oh, for sure, dude. You know how far that pollen flies.
but we're pretty sure we even took some of the pollen into our fucking grow rooms with us. Finding seeds here and there, but
What's going on out at the farm right now?
Nothing in flower. We just cropped down. That's what this what we're
GMO.
smoking is. Yeah, the GMO, this rainbow driver that I showed. I think I'm just breaking
Took
up.
down,
I'm
like,
actually breaking
a
up some
mat-
hippie
like
crasher
a-
right now.
Just
Uh,
all the strains that we had were like just big, like resinous plants.
GMO's still in the room growing, so
Yeah.
it's still not finished. And then the other room's going into flower. We were supposed to go stay there tonight, and we just just wiped out, man. We had to go down to Dundee, and I had to go to Cabela's before.
Yeah, for hunting, you got to get your shit together, man.
Didn't even get anything for hunting, dude. I got DOG an orange collar because our neighbors are in a tree stand next door to us, and I just want his motion to be noted as a dog. And then I got some fucking beef jerky and shit, dude. I had to pay a bill, go down there and pay my bill. And
They have
Not
a
one of those-
really good restaurant right there too. It's
I
like
guess.
total,
Is this where the burger joint was?
Yeah,
it's total
yeah.
stoner food, like
what's it called?
What's the name of the place?
social
Social house. Social
103.
house. Yeah, and then there's a number attached to it.
103. Yeah, no, it's super tasty. Mac and cheese, tater tots, pretzels.
Sweet potato fries, sweet potato tots, Sweet potato tots is one of them. Pretzels. So of course we got tots and mac and cheese.
Burgers and pretzels.
I got
Yeah, man.
a Hawaiian burger. So it's
what are you getting these Scooby-Doo burgers for?
oh dude, no, it's delicious, man. It's a burger with some barbecue sauce and then a pineapple ring on it.
Barbecue sauce.
Oh, dude, yeah. This is the last time I got the fungi burger and it was just too much mushroom and just
Too much mushroom.
Yeah. So
it's just the thing on a mushroom burger is you have to let them saute for a while, man. Let that shit just reduce down.
Yeah, mushrooms have to get tiny, I think. Like I think they get better.
So my advice to everybody is when you accomplish a lot of shit, you do a lot of work, treat yourself a little bit and treat yourself nicely.
Treat yourself to a pineapple burger in Dundee, Michigan.
We went out tonight. Yeah. Last night we actually we had steaks last night at home. You know, we did our own thing at home. We had steaks here.
With what?
Because we were talking about it last week or on the show the other night. We were talking about steaks and I had mushrooms and onion on mine. Becca, what do you have on yours? Just good old fashioned seasoning. We used to put salt and pepper seasoning.
Some lemon pepper on there.
I like Montreal.
Montreal seasoning. Yeah. A little bit of that dill in there makes it pop.
All of our veggie, like when we do like asparagus with lemon peppers, really good. Broccoli.
I thought you guys would do like a Red Setter Farm stir fry with that steak, and then all of your vegetables, and just be like.
I love doing that with venison, dude.
Okay. Is anybody gonna make any venison jerky? Does anybody in your tribe do that?
When I was younger, Daddy Red used to do venison jerky often. We would go up every year with some venison jerky. He would do the old like toothpicks and let it hang in the oven. And over time, I think it was just too time consuming. Or the herds are really thin up there, man. It's not like it was when I was a kid. It's definitely not like it was,
I can hear the pigeon that is DOG in the background. Listen to him cool.
They're still up there. They're in there, but not in the herds like what there used to be. There can be down here.
Hey, you know what? I'm talking about deer. My wife sent me a picture 2 mornings ago. And like I have my backyard and then I have the opening to the woods and it goes to trails and shit. She sends me a picture from like 100 yards off the driveway in the woods is standing this fucking like 8-point buck, perfectly parallel, looking dead in the camera and shit. I'm like, oh fuck, that's so cool, man.
You stand on your property, dude.
No, my thing is, man, is this might be the topic of the show if it's up to me, would be the appreciation of nature and like grounding yourself with nature and things. Like when you go out to hunt, it's not necessarily about going out and bagging something. There's that bit where you're walking through the woods and when I was out there, I would walk like 5 to 7 miles a day.
That's why
I would just cut out and I'd be like, dude, I'm all about exploring and traveling and like going places and shit. And I was walking through these neighborhoods and I always trip out on architecture and things. And so houses out there are a lot different than they are here. It's a very 1970s, 1980s vibe and the cool, weird ways when people have, retaining walls and balconies up the fucking yin yang. It's like a very Washington thing. And I'm just walking along, all the leaves are falling, it's raining outside. There's just like, this is fucking cool shit, man. Walking through the woods and then coming upon different mushroom species that are growing out there, shit that I don't see. Because it's the Pacific Northwest. It's like you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Like, so the trees that are predominant out there, like went to a place that had these rhododendron gardens. Rhododendron being like the state tree out there. And the property that I own now, I have what I consider a giant fucking rhododendron that's grows in the woods. Dude, mine is not shit compared to these things are like fucking tree trunk bases, man. They're just, they're like 20 feet tall and robust and shit. Thank you, Dave. I knew somebody would eventually look up my skullduggery reference because it does fit going swimming and getting kicked in the nuts. That's more of a skullduggery thing than what was the other word we were using up there? I can't remember. Swashbuckling. That's more of, I think of swashbuckling as more like an Errol Flynn kind of a pirate, you know, swinging along, you get the sword in your teeth and swinging between boats and shit, you know, daring do.
You are, you're wanting me to make a little PSA of, to not just have DOG on an orange collar, but to make sure that our foraging friends that may be in the woods this time of year are wearing some sort of a, whether or not be a bright hunter's orange, at least maybe a red cap or some sort of a, maybe a tie dye or something that just doesn't show that.
Bro, I mean, you already have the solution right at your fingertips. All you got to do is pack that Clifford the Red Dog big thing with, you know, the one eye and shit. All we got to do is just have you wear that. Just wear that out in the woods, man. Nobody's gonna mistake you for a deer. It'll be all right.
No,
Fun.
I get beat up for being a furry.
Oh,
For the kind of people.
oh, dude, I didn't even think about that. Okay, I rescind that. All right. No hate.
I'm
No
just
hate.
talking about people that are hunters. I also in my family hunts. Dude.
Dude, I've missed doing these shows, man.
I have too, man.
It's such an easy, it's always an easy conversation with you two.
We need to take a trip up to the woods with a group, the Grosky group. Go do a Sabo River camp out or something in the summertime, man.
We got to do something on this east side again. We got to come back, baby, come back.
And I mean,
So
even
that's
though
a
it's been
throwback.
nice, we can't do it this time. It's too much.
No.
Too much.
Well, I think we're doing. I think we're supposed to have that get together with Old Man, the Flying Slimbing coming up. So.
Yeah, we may not be able to make that with
It's a bummer.
family gatherings going on. I think that weekend. We have
My family does Saturday.
yeah, after Turkey Day, which is coming up now, guys. So we will not have a show next week. I figure I'll get to that before it gets too late in the show because of holiday shenanigans, of course, and everything that's going on. The following week after that, I believe, would be Thanksgiving. Assuming we're home in time, I imagine we're gonna have a Thanksgiving show.
Oh, Thursday night show. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's at 10 o'clock, I should be back by then. I'm sure.
Should
I don't
be.
even know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm sure whatever it is, it's nobody's gonna keep me hostage that damn long.
Notifications, you know, for us, it's just gonna be, we don't know. We got a couple different groups of family to go to, so we'll see if we're back around. But yeah, so it's gonna be another one of those. It might be another 1 week or 2 week hiatus. So we'll make sure we give you guys a good solid 2-hour show. So I got another big fatty here going down.
Right.
I put more. Oh, this is Hippie Crasher in a doobie. We have
That was really good when I had that last from you guys. That and you guys had some lemon dosey still.
really loving it. It's got such a like a
Smooth.
it's like a it's
Georgia
got a-
Grow Guy wants to know if that is in fact a grandfather clock in your background.
Yes, it is a grandfather clock. This is a grandfather clock from my grandmother. It's my grandmother's grandfather's.
And so Dr. Leave You Alone says it could be a grandma's clock. Exactly, sir. You get the hash time bell.
No.
There you go. If you guessed grandma's clock, you too can take it.
Yeah, it's a little display cabinet deal, and it has our uranium glass in it.
And then anybody that doesn't know, those cool lights in the background are the marching bears from the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, very
Those were
behind us.
from Christmas last year.
Those are cool as shit, man. I still dig those.
Christmas bears.
I got a new tapestry, man. I try to keep it kind of clean. Let me see if I can get the fuck out of the way of this camera.
Guy is from summer camp. That's a little dancing bear, like air plant holder. And then
I feel like every
that
week,
is from
Skilbo,
Peach
you have
Fest.
something new.
I try to keep it
Kind of
fucking.
well.
I'm trying to just keep it out, man. I
that
still,
plaque-
you know, this one I'm really fucking. This is cool because this is like a real metal sign, like a no parking style sign, but it's the MBGS logo on steel.
That's
Then this one here, I'm always going to be fond of because this says, "Yeah, man, we're stoned." And then this one is another MBGS one. This is shout out to Astro Charlie. He did this cool thing for me. And then Shout out to Kazoo, because this is one of my original fucking fan art things.
Fuck yeah.
And I've had that. It says "Yeah Man" on it. It's got my microphone. Shout out to Astro Charlie 2 for the fucking MBGS dab mat. And shout out to my mechanic for giving me this dope ass 1980s deadhead license plate. Yeah.
I need a mechanic like you, man. That's super cool.
Yeah. I had to go get an oil change in my truck before I went to that Dead and Company show over the summer. And he was like, "Yo, where you going?" I was telling him, and he's an old deadhead from a long time when he had this on the wall. And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's so cool. It's like it's my birthday, and I get to go to this fucking birthday concert, and it's in my local venue, and I'm getting to hang out with, 3 of my best friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome."
He
was like, "You see that up on the wall, man?" He was like, "Take that, dude. Happy birthday."
No shit, dude.
Yeah,
that's such a cool fucking pay it forward, man.
Yeah, I always have these cool things where
fucking thing.
Yeah.
Man.
There's a lot of good people out there, man. I know that sometimes it can seem like the world is a shitty fucking place. And you know what? It surely can be. And Jesus Christ. And you can contribute to that. A lot of it by the way that the way you look at the world. You can go through the daily trials and tribulations, and you can do it with an easy and grateful heart, or you can do it with a pissy, prickly fucking attitude and be angry. See, DOG even knows that's some bullshit. So, like, this is a show about, test your shit and mental health and self-care and everything else. And it's like, we always preach about, we have to be patient with ourselves and we have to be forgiving of ourselves. But you know what? That extends to everybody else as well. So, like, when in doubt, just try to be nice. And that's my 2 cents.
Agree with that, Skilbo. Oh, DOG agrees with you.
DOG ratifies my statements. Becca, is it dab time for you yet?
It's 11:30.
Yeah. I was having a little snack.
It's nut time.
Is it nut time? Do you have nuts?
And time, man.
Yeah, it's just my favorite snack. It's not a big deal.
So what's the mix this week?
Pecans and walnuts and dark chocolate and pin seeds.
Really? That sounds good.
I don't know what language that's in. My mom got that from Hong Kong.
Stop it.
But that's my name.
What?
Yeah, that's
dude. Can you grab that and bring that over just so I can see that, or is that going to be a pain in the ass to remove?
No, other way.
It's just
my shirt is Thunder Cannabis. This is a reservation. Let me do it this way.
Cool.
So they painted that.
That's sick.
It's like a Frodo bird.
That's fucking sweet.
Somebody who actually knows the language is going to tell me that says like fucking cow or something. But
well, it's funny you mentioned that because I have a couple of characters on the back of my one arm, and it's the whole. It kind of goes with what I was just saying. It's Wu Wei, which is like. I wish I could explain it, but it's kind of like just be calm with shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Who knows? It may be an ad for like surfboards or something, right?
I got a chance to spend some time in Beijing myself.
Nice flex.
And then, as I got older, I started to like study Eastern philosophy and some other things.
Dude, that's what made Skilbo, man. Is getting in touch with the whole fucking like, dude, you are responsible for your own mindset.
What got me the most was
Astro Charlie, yes.
Was realizing the
interconnectedness.
No, yes, that to everybody, but there's almost this belief that Buddhism or any of those other, Hindu and all of those rather than them being a philosophy, that they're a religion. And so it's like ousted like by other religions, because religions believe they can only believe in one religion rather than a spirituality and a philosophy of spirituality. And also the lack of understanding that most religions are all based on the same, religion or God or text. And so like these other philosophies aren't necessarily based on gods or deities, they're based on philosophy.
I feel like you can believe in whatever you want to believe in if it compels you to do good works and it makes you a good person in so much as being, kind and generous with people and things like that. You can believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, and I could give two fucks. Keep doing what you're doing. But at the same time, if you believe in something, and I don't care what Godhead name you put to it, if it doesn't compel you to be compassionate and loving and kind to people, then I would only ask you to rethink your position. Because you know what, man? We only have so many fucking trips around the sun here. And you just make the most of it, man. Don't go through life as a fucking asshole. Don't go through life being angry about things. Just go through life and do the best that you can and fucking realize tomorrow is another day. You can make it or break it.
Yeah.
You can fuck your life up in 5 seconds, and you can, make a decision in 5 seconds that can change your entire life. So
I was, because I was raised in a Catholic family, a very
very
lightly disciplined Catholic family.
I can't see Daddy nor Mama Red being fucking hard asses.
Daddy Red is not he was not raised Catholic, I don't believe. Like, I don't think he was like formally baptized or anything like that. Like I was like in a white dress and the whole nine, as a baby. Godparents and everybody there, very, very formal. And then he's very,
I love you, DOG.
So distracting. Could he just go to bed?
He's just chilling, man.
But like none of my family would ever like not talk to anybody else for like not going to church or anything, even though like my grandma did regularly go to church. But we also had a lot of positives come from like church. That was like after my grandfather had passed away, some friends for, people that my grandmother met through church, neighbors and stuff like that, were able to like take her under her wing and like, the whole like social,
that's a community, man.
Community type thing. Yeah.
Sure.
So like that whole thing has always been really strong and helpful. And that was really, none of my family has ever been blasphemer, you're gonna go to hell or anything like that. That was always very helpful.
Burn the heretic, right?
I have known lots of people like that. I've known friends, dated people whose parents were like that. So I would really see that like in the churches they would go to. But then as I went through a period of agnosticism. Or no, I'm sorry. I went through a period of atheism, probably from, I don't know, maybe like my early teenage years into like maybe my mid 20s. And then I got more into a agnostic approach to things. And then I started to respect the discipline behind some forms of spirituality and religion, not necessarily the actual like laws of certain religions or what some people consider law, whereas some of like when you really look at what's being said in these books, it's not like what people take it as, like I've heard people, like some people are like, oh yeah, like the religion says, you can't do this and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, like some extremists take a passage to the extreme and say that you can't do that, but that's not what the passage says, and it's something like that, it's not the entire religion. There's extremists on both sides, this, that, the other. So, I've learned to to kind of like take what I know from the religious aspect of my upbringing and then apply that to what I believe to be in like a agnostic sort of spirituality sort of thing, using all of my own let's say intellect and taking all of my own education from theology and putting it into my own opinion and
Father Red
belief, my own kind of belief system. It's not necessarily following some other and taking objectively what I've learned that like Jesus Christ was actually Hebrew and like all of these other things like through theology that that lead me to understand that there's way more connections between Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim. Like there's way more connections between those three religions than there's differences.
So you know what my religion is these days is Mother Cannabis and probably Mother Mushroom. So to me,
I would say I'm more pagan than anything.
Those are more of my sacraments in the sense of like
that's
they ground me
type of things.
They make me a nicer person. They make me more empathetic. I seen that there's a study this week that said that cannabis does not in fact increase your creativity, and I can agree with that, but I also think that I can think around corners, maybe do a better job of paradigm shifting under the influence of cannabis or mushrooms. Sometimes that's all you need is that little nudge, you know what I mean? Just to kind of reset your magnetic north.
The psychedelic experience is what brought me from atheism back into a phase of agnosticism. It was in back into a belief of whether I am the higher being, there is a higher being, we all are the higher being, whatever it being, that it's not just a nihilistic approach to existence, which kind of where I was as an atheist. It was very, very nihilistic as a late teenager. Whereas, I had a few psychedelic experiences. Now I'm like, oh, nature is moving, nature's alive. There's way more to existence once you start seeing consciousness everywhere. You're not alone in your thoughts anymore, and when nobody's talking to you, oh shit, other things are around listening, so I started having more appreciation for everything. And I would say that as far as like having those Catholic roots, I have that like hierarchy of
Yo G, hey buddy, look at him, pat him back up.
I was just
damn
those God's law, the do good laws, don't kill, don't covet, those type of
don't
things.
Be a dick.
And I always think back to like the one that most take so seriously, which is don't have other gods before me. And I always, like I said, man, I pray to nature, I pray to the sun, to everything that it is, because I still believe that I'm not being blasphemous for praying to other gods, as long as there's not another God above the all, which is what I think is that comes out of that. Don't pray to other gods before me. Not don't pray to other gods, just don't pray to other gods before me. Where other like, Christians are like, oh God, you can't be Wicca, you can't be pagan, you can't be all of these, anything else, or else you're blasphemous or go to hell. In my mind, you can pray to anything else, where it's as long as you understand that there is a ultimate higher being, and that could be your own enlightenment, that could be whatever it is. So I kind of filter in and out of like God's law, the Christian law, some stuff like that. But I think that ultimately there are just like, that's it, the laws of nature, the God's law, the common law, not God's law, common law, that is, don't be a dick.
What do we?
That's how.
Is that the number one rule?
Well, yeah, that's how.
I think so, man.
If more people follow that, well, for example, we're not necessarily following the law by having.
He took 2 rips and went right back into a.
Prior to like 2008, it wasn't really following the law growing cannabis. Most people
Purportedly,
we don't have to like have a law to tell me what to do or not to do. Like, I'm not going to go and rob somebody. I'm not going to go and kill somebody or do anything like that, because that's a terrible thing to do. There doesn't have to be a law. Even if it was legal to do those things, I wouldn't be out there doing those, because ethically and morally, that's against common law. So I'm just not going to do those sorts of things. Now, do I think that preventing somebody to, keep chickens or grow cannabis, I think that that's against common law. So I'm going to civilly disobey those. So I don't think that laws are necessarily designed for the better of our own good. So some respect, they're subjective. I'm not going to say that. I'm not okay. I don't want to like flag our channel or anything.
You want me to save you off of this?
So yeah. So laws are important and they should be followed. That's what I'm just going to end with that. And we'll just stick with that. Okay, Skilbo saved me.
Skilbo saved me. Well, I wanted to ask Becca, when you were taking your rip, I was waiting for that pause, and I was going to say, what did you end up doing? Was it that banana bread or the banana daddy?
The banana daddy. It's a bit more it's not as sweet. It's a little more skunky.
Right on.
GMO-y. Kind of.
Dave says it's funny, it's how I found you guys, because I shouted out, growing with my fellow growers. Dave, I was one of the people that was on that panel in the very, 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 very beginning. And so I have nothing but love for Jack and everyone over there, because that's where you go to get like the latest and the greatest news for, what's going on cutting edge for cannabis. So I tend to be more on the line of the entertainment side of cannabis. Entertainment and advocacy. How's that? So I don't claim to be a great grower, but I'm enthusiastic, and sometimes that can be, what makes the difference. Because I'll give you an example, had the 4 tubs of mushrooms going, right? So 3 of them are fucking booming, man, just booming. And there's this one tub just doesn't want to fucking do anything. Doesn't want to do anything. So instead of like having a big, conniption on like, well, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I don't know. Growing is fun. To me, that's one of the things that was nice about this summer and being able to run an outdoor garden, was just to be able to have my hands on the plants and my hands in the dirt, and to watch how different it is outdoors versus indoors. And I'm really looking forward to next season. I just have to, I think I'm going to probably build some raised beds, rock it that way.
We cannot wait till next year. We're thinking about trying to get them certified.
What's that?
Because I don't want okay, so DEM certified is literally DEM, Dragonfly Earth Medicine, pure certification. So that's their certification that is just kind of checking guidelines of some stuff that they believe to be regenerative. And then what I would want to do is in turn add some additional guidelines for our own sake. Doesn't necessarily have to, be accredited. They're not necessarily accredited nationally or anything outside of like the cannabis regenerative industry, maybe not necessarily cannabis, but outside the regenerative industry. I'm not sure if they're accredited like in the market industry, how well known it is, but it's a form of guidelines that we could adhere to, and we could have, you know, certification under. I don't know if it costs anything. Obviously, that would play a factor into it.
I'm sure it costs to get certified.
If it's like a ridiculous cost, no.
But I mean, is there information that they would provide you? It's kind of like, you know, if you go to some of these, you know, like conferences and stuff like that, they may be expensive, but sometimes there's information that you get at those that isn't readily available and can make all the difference in your next crop or harvest or season or whatever.
And for a few reasons, we're unable to get not USDA, but Omni certification, because we would like to have our food, vegetables, hemp, some stuff like that in some markets, artisan markets and whatnot in the area, and even local farmers markets. In order to kind of do that, number one, you can't be composting your chicken shit, which what we learned recently this year.
Hey, you don't have to call me chicken shit, bro. It's cool.
You have to have
fucking simmer down, man.
You know, our neighbors spray. So like there's a handful of like things. I don't really think that we'd be able to get organic certified. We also can't have CSAs. So just a few things.
It's just too much of an alphabet soup, man.
Exactly. So we are thinking that, you know, there's all kinds of like ways.
You like that, don't you?
Ourselves. I like your alphabet soup.
It is.
We could just get, you know, that DEMS certification possibly, and at least there's something that we could, you know, try to explain to people that wanted to buy our vegetables, and we have some sort of we don't have an organic certification, but we do have this certification. You know what I mean?
You know what I want to see, like in the next season, before you guys completely destroy the backyard availability of land. Yeah. I think you guys really need to start an alpaca operation there, man. Maybe like 2 or 3 of them, and then we can start like a weaving process, and like, you know, you can take all that hemp that you're growing, and you ever see the old school way that they break down like hemp stalks and shit like that, where they have like a wheel and they just feed it into it and they keep spinning it, it's breaking it down, weave baskets and shit.
What, make pulp?
I just really want you to get alpacas because I want to be able to come over and pet them, and, you know,
maybe when we get our acreage. Okay.
But I'm a patient person. If there's alpacas on the line for it,
give us some time. We got little animals. It's a little urban farm here.
We're thinking we can at least get away with a pig here. Would be
like
next.
A little mini pig, not a big, huge one. Like
don't get one big enough that Red would try to ride it. It has to be like a small one, so he's not tempted.
Yeah, like
it has
like
to have a purpose.
Pigs.
And the thing is, we don't have any forest land. We don't need a pig for rooting up anything. Like a pig's purpose would literally be just make a mess. So I mean, a pig would be the only probably possible thing. Now maybe we could get an alpaca and just kind of like call it an emotional
sneak it in. Yeah.
You
need to get like the vest, you know, you can get like service animal vest.
Yeah, there's something we could probably.
What do you think?
Like we're in a very progressive part of town.
Yeah, yes, he's not joking.
We can.
Dave was asking in the chat about chickens. I know when he came in, he was like, "Did I miss the chicken talk?" And now he's asking if the chickens are there yet. So I know we did it a little bit earlier, but Becca, do you want to give him a chicken update?
From no chickens to like coop and chickens, like. Yeah, like full weeks. Like we already had eggs. Like it's weird. It's super weird.
We've had them. This is their 3rd night, and we let them out today to roam in the gardens a bit. I clipped all their wings in the past couple days. I learned how to do that from YouTube and just did it, and it was scary, and I've got scratches and.
Yeah, show me scratches.
I'm all scratched.
Did you put the roller ball on there?
Not on the open scratch. I don't know how that does on open wounds.
Doesn't seem to be infected at all, so it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I put some like Neosporin on it.
Okay.
But they did good. They all went back in their coop, you know, with just like a little herding. We just kind of like walked them.
Did you walk around behind them? Did Red chase them through the yard? Was there a bunch of clucking? And
the other day
we have them inside a fenced in area already, so it's fenced in. and their coop is inside that fenced in portion. So they're kind of in a safe space.
You guys, whose page is the chicken coop on, or was that just in a private chat that I see?
Is Rosemary's Oasis and Red Setter Farm.
Okay.
A lot of it was him building it. I obviously did a lot.
She did a
but
lot.
I recorded him doing it.
Becca did a ton.
Becca, no, that's the thing is Becca never gives herself enough credit, and I love that Red's always right there. Like,
she did the linoleum inside, dude.
Is that what you ended up doing? Was like a peel and stick?
Peel and stick, single square. Yeah.
How was it? Did you make it the right size so you didn't have to make a bunch of goofy cuts?
Yeah. Well, no, not at all.
I had to do a bunch of goofy cuts.
Not at all.
Hard, and it took me too long.
Skilbo, like you said before you left, dude, we made this totally over-engineered. So it was all.
It looks nice though, man. I really like the way that you made your doors with the bracing in the corners.
It was built. Let's just say that we could move in. It was built probably to code.
Did you now? How are you guys going to deal with wintertime temperatures? Because we do live in a zone that it could get cold.
They have 4 walls, a floor, and a insulated roof. How
did you insulate the roof?
Condensation. I actually had old Artec foam with the aluminum side that's an IR barrier. So that's going to help with heat in the summertime, and it's going to help with condensation building up on the roof in the wintertime, because they're going to create humidity and heat. They have a body temperature of about 100 degrees. They really don't need heat in the wintertime. They keep themselves warm in a huddle. And as long as they don't have any drafts on them, they are okay. And so we have this like completely sealed up. It will get cold. Now the top is vented, and that's one important thing, is to vent the condensation. The humidity that they're creating is going to create condensation. So without it being vented, they'll get condensation on them, and that will actually
make dampness and shit in there. Yeah,
damp water will freeze, and then they'll get frostbite, and that is how they can actually get harmed from cold temperatures. So we have the front top and the side that's out to the run is wide open. That way, air can just kind of vent up and out, and hopefully it's enough venting that they'll stay warm enough, and enough venting that they, won't have any condensation issues. And
well, I'm looking forward to checking it out.
We just saved, like, dude, you know how it has. We've been very fortunate, Skilbo, since you've been gone. We haven't had any rain, and
you guys have had fucking amazing weather here, man.
Huge windstorm the other day, and
man, I
leaves down, and I went and collected.
Man, I got another tree that came down in the woods. I got to take care of tomorrow.
Dude, Becca ran and got some leaf bags. If you guys don't know what leaf bags are, they're like maybe 30 or 40 gallon paper bags. So everybody knows what leaf bags are. They're like giant paper bags, and I feel.
You have the little cardboard insert thing that goes in there so you can rake those up?
No, because usually
let me do a PSA
I
real
don't
quick.
fuck with those things, man. I haven't bought leaf bags the only thing I use leaf bags for is my cannabis leaves from the farm, and I use them to haul the shit home, and I put my sticks and shit in them. I haven't bought leaf bags in like 4 or 5 years, because all of my leaves get thrown onto a tarp, dragged into my garden, and mulched with my lawnmower and thrown into my garden. So I haven't even needed it. I haven't had a reason to fuck with scooping them up or doing none of that stuff. Yeah, the funnels and all that shit. I don't have any of those tools or none of that stuff, man. So I'm out there with the flopping bag. I used to get inside the fucking bag and like open it up like this up until I still fucking do. I get inside that fucking bag, and the whole bag will fucking fall down on top of me and fucking open the thing up. And then I open it, and I'll lay it down into the pile of leaves, and I'll fill it up halfway. But anyway, I got 6 of them that are going to spend probably the first half of winter just sitting in the garage. Nice dry leaf bags for bedding. So there's our bedding for.
I like how optimistic you are that the garage is going to stay dry this year.
It's going to stay. Our garage stays dry, and it stays relatively warm. It'll stay above.
It was a long time callback to when there was the the great flooding of the ceiling of the garage.
We don't have to fill
We don't
that.
speak of that anymore. Is that what it
Thankfully-
is?
No, we
thankfully,
don't
yeah.
fill it. We don't use
We don't
it.
fill it.
We don't have
use
any
it.
plants here, so
Yeah, we don't even
uh,
use that spigot ever.
Very rarely does that get turned
She
on.
might use it every now and then to fill up something to water the house plants, but
Right.
we never use it. Eventually it's just gonna get, that whole filter is probably just gonna get taken to the farm for a reclaim filter, a reclaim RO filter or something. Or I might end up putting it on, keeping it on the house here and using it for something. But
Going back to the leaf thing too, I still think of shout out to Spartan Grown. His thing was to gather all the leaves up in like a big plastic garbage can and then just use your weed whipper. Just lower it in there and fucking mulch all your leaves up like that too.
That's fun.
So what I have to do is, because I have so many trees here, I'm just gonna pull the John Deere out and just fucking put the blade on full revolution and just slowly putt and roll a couple joints, put my earbuds in. And I'm just gonna set the cruise control on the tractor and just mulch all that shit in. And
you got the bag for it?
nah,
Shoot it out
I'm a
the side,
fucking.
rake it up.
We're gonna shoot that shit and then we're gonna blow it all towards the beds along the perimeter of the property.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I did all that today, man. Mowed it all up into my lawnmower and dumped it all on a
I hope I haven't looked at the weather, but I hope it's supposed to be nice again. But
got a little bit of rain tomorrow. Dude, it's probably gonna be 70 for the next 3 weeks.
No,
man.
I think it's gonna be 60 tomorrow, and then it's gonna be in the 40s.
Yeah.
that sounds more likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like what I think that's it.
So when we get back, we start, and once I get the all the rest of this shit, the bed's put to sleep and everything, I get some of these leaves tucked away and put all out
Tuck them in. Yeah.
we start breaking ground on our greenhouse. So hopefully we haven't driven our neighbors crazy with.
Now I'm looking forward to the way that you guys do this, because I myself may be in the market to do something like that. So I can let you work all the bugs out. What size are you thinking? And then how are we going to deal with the height? And then what are you going to
very
do?
similar to what we just built. It's probably gonna just be like a foot bigger in every direction, a couple feet bigger in every direction.
How big would that be?
What we just built is about 6.5 by 10.5 by 6 feet tall on one side, 5 feet tall on the other side. It has like a 212 slope on the roof.
And what do you want to grow in this greenhouse?
It just starts. It's going to be overwintering, maybe some stuff if we have to toss some pots in there, but most just for starting seeds all winter long, really. I mean, it's probably going to have like a little ground bed so that we can grow some leafy greens in the shit in there in the winter time. And but it's going to be, the width is going to be about 7 feet wide. It's gonna be about 12 feet long, so just a little bit wider, but a little bit longer. And the height is gonna be only probably about the same height, or just maybe a foot taller.
Hey, DOG really wants us.
DOG wants to go to bed.
Yeah, so we've done our show.
Stay tuned for the greenhouse and all that stuff. And
before we get out of here, I do want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us.
DOG.
Stop back through Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Bro Show Live.
I really appreciate everybody sticking around through the show and coming on back. I know that we were gone for a couple of weeks, but it's always good to see all the familiar faces sticking around.
That's why you got to be subscribed and have those notifications on so you know when the channel goes live.
Damn straight, man, because we're not going to be back for probably the next week or two, and you're probably going to need the notifications, but we will be back. And, we're
Thank you. She grows the dank.
Having all kinds of more shenanigans to discuss and talk about. And who knows, maybe more states and districts will have other things to talk about, such as the Colorado, which we're excited about the whole Colorado thing, because that's where our honeymoon is going to be next year. So that's super fun. We're going to go see.
Yeah, man.
Psychedelics are legal in Colorado. That's awesome. It's going to be a great show. So rock and roll, everybody. Be safe. Test your meds.
Test your meds.
Get out there, discuss this information to somebody else, and spread spores. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I like that closing, huh?
Spread spores.
Very, very classy.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody. Rock and roll.
Can't hear her back there.